It's the reason I'm able to be here, despite the fact that everything, when it comes to the tech companies, when it comes to AI algorithms, they're all pretty much working against me on YouTube and here. Facebook's been pretty kind to me, so I don't want to hate on Facebook. They've been very good to me, but thank you for everyone supporting. The 4 stories about Brett Kavanaugh, I talked a little bit about it last week, and I'm going to make it pretty short because it's just so sad. It just kind of hurts your soul to see what's going on in this country. But Brett Kavanaugh should be confirmed today, but the Republican Party doesn't really have a spine, and they let the Democrats and the media pretty much do whatever, and the only real leader over there is President Trump and maybe a few others, so thank goodness he's there. But Brett Kavanaugh should be confirmed, but one, liberal, extremely far-left woman who is like knitting pussy hats and, wearing pink hats all the time just has an allegation that 40 years ago he touched her at a party or something, but she's not sure where. She doesn't really remember the party, and the whole story around is being fabricated. Her lawyers are like top Democrats, super liberal activist women, so nothing sketchy there, not a political hit job at all. And Brett Kavanaugh, amazingly, I don't even have text messages from 4 weeks ago. Brett Kavanaugh has a calendar from 1982 that allegedly proves that he wasn't at the party. So Brett Kavanaugh is such a neat and tidy guy, unlike myself. Just to be honest, I don't have calendars. I'm more like creative. I gotta reel it in sometimes. But Brett Kavanaugh has a calendar from 1982. So this is the country that we live in, and I would hope that any decent person on the left or right would understand why this is wrong. All it takes is one woman to have a story from 40, 30 years ago to derail an entire Supreme Court process. In the midst of having a Republican have 6 of his siblings lobby against him just because they're so far gone, brainwashed by the media, and so far left, that they're mad at their brother for having basic common sense and basic decency and asking questions about certain things. And probably during Charlottesville, I'm sure he didn't support the far right. If he did, then he's not a great person. But maybe he was just like, whoa, what's going on here? Why is a ex-Democrat leading a rally with a bunch of people that I've never seen, and then Vice is there making a whole documentary out of it, and then all of a sudden Antifa and all these other organizations get bussed in, and there's a huge clash that Vice is making look like a movie. I doubt maybe he did, but it's am I a bad person am I just supposed to say, yeah, Nazis are bad, we get it, those are terrible people? I'm where did they find all these horrible people? If they really exist, yeah. But why was it a whole documentary? Things happen every day. It was sketchy to me too, but just having a basic, they're bad, they're bad, they're bad, and what's going on here? People are no, you're not allowed to question everything. We're allowed to manipulate everything in the world, and dare you questioning the media narrative, I'm going to lobby against you as president, or when you're running for House member. Anyway, what I'm saying is, any decent person should know one woman's story should not derail an entire democracy off of a story from 40 years ago. You're opening Pandora's box. This is going to be terrible for everyone. But Brett Kavanaugh has a calendar. Apparently, this is so just goofy. Artificial intelligence, computers that are smarter than human beings, that are increasingly getting smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter. You have foreign countries taking out full-page ads in our country, multiple foreign countries trying to influence policy every single day to the tune of millions of dollars. And you're sitting here talking about a 1982 calendar, and I am too. A calendar from 1982 to dispel a super liberal woman with a super liberal lawyer that's trying to derail a whole... we're self-sabotaging ourselves in every sort of way. We need to be strong and united as a country, and we're failing at the worst time. You have computers getting smarter, and the news is just getting dumber and dumber and dumber. So there's this other woman that has a story, and I guess that's, I could go on this for hours, but it really just hurts my soul to do. I guess that's the media climate that we need to live in, and that Twitter and Facebook and Google and all of the television support. One woman says something, big story, another woman says something, even though millions of people lie every day, and even people's own siblings are so far gone and brainwashed politically that they'll turn against their own family member just because they believe the far left media narrative that around everything. Oh, well, he doesn't believe in climate change and he wants to separate kids, so I'm gonna go vote for the other guy. God help us all. God help this country, because this is going to be a really, really bumpy ride. But overall, Kavanaugh should be confirmed. The Republicans definitely need to grow a spine and just do their job, for once. And it's a really sad day if one person's story, accusation, becomes the law or becomes the whole media scoop. There's just allegations, anonymous sources, people's story, and millions of people can't even take care of themselves, tell the truth to themselves, let alone tell the truth to somebody else. I mean, you talk to people nowadays, they're so far gone. Not everybody. I think it's going to be a big red wave, but they're so far gone and their minds are so far skewed that like 70 to 80% of what they believe is a total fabricated lie. So, of course, a far leftist who thinks families are getting separated at the border and the climate's changing at a crazy rate and we're all going to die and this and that, it's like, are they even able to consider that like 70% of their narrative might not be true? Maybe like 20, 30% of it's true, but then 80% of it's not true. I don't know that people can handle this. I don't know what they're going to do. Tear down the country, attack Republicans at a softball game again, destroy banks and just smash Starbucks windows. I don't know, because it's going to be, I'm sorry, but it's going to be a very, very rude awakening for a lot of people when things don't work out, because the Rosenstein investigation, the Mueller investigation was a total flop, a setup from the very, very beginning. Of course, the Charlottesville situation was, they were far right, horrible people there, but there were also horrible far left people. And the person who started the rally was an ex-Obama, like Occupy Wall Street guy. So there's a high chance that the whole thing was a media and political fabricated event to find the worst people from all sides and throw them together and fight and kill each other. There's a small possibility or a high possibility that that's true. I know people don't want to hear that. Tommy Robinson is not a far right British thug. He's definitely a little outspoken, maybe a little bit rude, but if him trying to expose child rape gangs is a bad thing and throwing him in jail to silence him so people don't know that kids are getting raped is a good thing, then I guess that's the new Democratic Party. If George Soros is an old man who never did anything wrong and every Republican should apologize, even when that's not true, he has $16 billion in a fund that basically is involved in multiple countries and getting outed and weeded out of multiple countries because he has a super power complex and he's trying to influence policy in dozens of countries worldwide and, overturn Brexit and overturn this administration. And I don't know. I'm just reading. This is the brother. If you guys are watching on YouTube, this is from my other segment of Paul Gosar, David Brill, where the 6 siblings turned against him. I'm just reading all the things he said, why he's all mad, border babies and stuff. I don't know what people like this, like how they're gonna feel when they realize that 80% of their story is completely made up, completely backwards, and completely twisted to the point where they have now become the fascists that they're trying to stop. They're the ones that are derailing democracy, even though they think they're saving it. They're the ones that are allowing foreign collusion to happen and supporting politicians like Dianne Feinstein that are working literally side by side with Chinese spies and, newspapers in the U.S. who are allowing China. Imagine if Russia took out a 4-page ad in our newspaper. China just did that yesterday, and you don't hear a word about it on the news. People who are trying to say that that's happening are getting deplatformed off of all of social media. Besides myself, Alex Jones was one of the people, and I'm not comparing myself or saying that he's great. There's a lot of things he says I would never say, but he was one of the only people who consistently talked about that, and now he's deplatformed. How do we know that we're not being infiltrated by a communist country that is systemically taking us out from the inside, brainwashing people, and then before you know it, we're all completely controlled and we have no say, we have no freedom of speech, no Second Amendment, and they're using the 25th Amendment to try to take the president out by nefarious means. So overall, very, very wild times, but I'm going to relax. I'll be back soon to my normal domain. Got a lot of stuff going on. New song, I Like Trump, is out now. I have a new song with a platinum rock group, That Is True, coming out very, very soon. This is a song with no curse words. It's about uniting the country. I think it's going to do very well, and then we're shooting a music video for that. I'm going to do dozens of news analysis. I'm going to be back to my everyday thing like this, doing 3-4 stories a day, getting you guys some rare talk, rare perspective, and just honestly somewhat of a, I'm definitely not perfect. I make mistakes time to time. Although when I do make big mistakes, I try to just delete the video, but it very, very rarely happens. Just get like a better dialogue, because whether it be right or left, it's just like incendiary, like back and forth, and people are freaking out all the time. So hopefully these type of newscasts relieve a little bit of that tension and just bad vibes, and bring some good vibes, good energy, and unique perspective to the political circus that seems like it's not going away anytime soon. Because both sides are going to have to compromise, both sides are going to have to listen, and certain people, millions of people that have dedicated their lives to a political or social agenda that is totally backwards and counterproductive, they're going to have to learn either the easy way, learn themselves, or the hard way. And I don't want to see the hard way happen, because I've warned several times, not to be mean or scary, but just to be honest, we have it very, very good right now. It could be worse. In many places, it's getting worse. A lot of Americans saw that. That's why they voted a different way this time. But we could be a third world country. We could have no freedom of speech. Everything could go so far downhill that liberals and activists and feminists will be crying, wishing that they didn't squander the opportunities that they had, because they didn't realize what they had till they're gone. So I would like to save the social and political fabric of America before we turn ourselves into a third world country, either by letting foreign entities come here and take us over, or by doing it ourselves, by just melting from the inside out and having like hysterical, emotional, spiritual meltdowns, and destroy the strength of America. The strength, whether you're left or right, is what keeps us afloat, which keeps us a big power, which keeps us a step ahead of the game, and which keeps us, to be honest, safe. So if we lose our strength, a lot of that is united we stand, divided we fall. If we lose our strength, we lose everything. So we have to really stop this pretty soon, and we'll see what happens. So thank you guys for joining. If you'd like to support, at minimum, sign up to my free email list. It's 100% free. It's pinned to the top. Patreon and donor box are, what keeps me afloat barely, to be able to do this type of reporting. And I know that you won't find very many people who put in the hours and also the influence that this movement has had. So thank you guys so much for that. I'll be back tomorrow or the next day with new stuff. Stay calm, stay blessed, and try to stay not upset, because I feel like this week is just going to get ugly with the Kavanaugh and the Rosenstein stuff. People are freaking out on all sides, so try to stay calm. I know it's going to be tough, though. You're going to be like, reading every headline, but that's how it goes. Have a good week. I'll be back.